Okay, we were in perek. Let's go again from Mishnah Zayin, 5th perek, 7th Mishnah. Halachically mi habayis v'chazer v'lakach mimeno. Shnia. If you buy from a homeowner, you buy directly from the farmer today, and then you go and buy again from another day. Meiser mizel zeh. So again, we want to make sure that both things have the same status of either Meiser was taken, wasn't taken, maybe it was. So if they're all from the same person, presumably he's consistent in how he acts. And if he didn't take Meiser on the stuff he sold yesterday, he didn't take Meiser on the stuff he sold today. If he did take Meiser yesterday, he did today, so it would all be consistent, and you could take Meiser from one or the other. Even if the stuff he's selling, he has in two baskets. Again, it's not going to make any difference because it's all his stuff, so he treated it the same. Even if it grew in different cities, again, he's the one who took care of all of it, so it's all going to be the same. If you have a guy who's selling vegetables in the market, if they're his own produce, he grew them in his own gardens, then he's just like any balabayis. And meiser me'achaz then you take meiser from one on all of them. However, miginos acheres, if he's selling other people's stuff that they grew in their gardens, then you don't know that everything's the same status. So meiser mikol echad ve'echad, you have to take meiser from each type. Fine. Mishnah ches. Here's an exception where even though you bought it from two separate people, you could take meiser from one and the other. So you buy things that the people selling you tell you that we did not take off meiser. So then you know for sure meiser wasn't taken. So you could take meiser. So they're the same status. Meiser mizel zeh. You could take meiser from one and the other. Even though they said in general you're not allowed to sell things without having taken off meiser unless there's some pressing need. But if you would buy it, which is not a problem, you'd be able to take meiser from one and the other. Mishnah tes. Meiser shal Yisrael al shal nachri. So there's a general dispute as to whether the produce that grows in land that belongs to a non-Jew in Eretz Yisrael is obligated in meiser or not, same as that it grows in a Jew's land. So this Tana is assuming it's the same. So if you buy from a non-Jew and you buy from a Jew, if you know for sure meiser wasn't taken off, they're equal. You could take meiser from one and the other. And or mishal nachri al shal Yisrael, or from a non-Jew's produce on a Jew's produce. Mishal Yisrael al shal kusim. Again, kusim are in this case not going to really make much of a difference. There's a dispute whether they have the status of Jews or not. But once Jews and Goyim are all the same, so kusim are also going to fall in the middle for this. And mishal kusim al shal kusim. Or from one kusi and another, you assume it's all the same. Eliezer says, no, you can't take from one kusi on another, because some kusim perhaps keep the halachos better and actually would take off meiser on things before they sell them to you, and others not. So, don't do that. Mishnah Yiralef. Otzutz nakuf. Something that grows in a pot that has a hole. So if it grew in a flower pot, not direct in the ground, but there's a hole in the bottom of the pot, harezek aretz, then the pot doesn't make any difference. It's like it grew in the ground. And tyra haaretz, you could take truma from something that grew in the ground, al atzis nakov, on something that grew in this flower pot that has a hole, or from something that grew in this flower pot that has a hole, al haaretz, on something that grew on the ground, truma so truma. That works. It's considered like it grows straight from the ground. However, mish'enu nakov, if you have a flower pot that does not have a hole, so that's it's completely separated from the ground by the pot, al nakov, on something that does have a hole, so then it's truma v'yachzer v'yitrim, which means that really it doesn't work. But the Rabbanan don't want to say it just doesn't work because they're afraid people are going to get confused. This is a flower pot, that's a flower pot, it's all the same. So he said, what you gave, that should be truma, and give truma again. And the other way, min hanakov al she'enu nakov, if you took something from a flower pot that does have a hole for something that doesn't have a hole, so that here it's an even bigger problem, because the flower pot that has a hole has a real obligation of truma. The one without a hole really didn't grow from the ground, so it was not obligated in truma. So what you gave really on a deraisa level is not truma at all. So here they say, the Kohen can't eat that truma unless the Kohen separates trumas and meisers on what he got. because what he got in truma was really not truma, so it's really tevel, and really he would have to fix it up himself in order to be able to eat it. Okay.